Okay guys, so the package from Ants Canada arrived, finally. So I figured I would record me opening it, just in case I make a video about it. So either you'll see this part, or you won't. Either way, there will definitely be a part where I go over what I got. So, yeah. Lots of packing, foam, and then we've got tubing. Looks like there's 3 here. Yeah, 3 tubes, so that's great. Then we've got 2 of the test tube portals. So there's this. And they've got the lid and the drop feed tube thing. So I've got 2 of those. There are a bunch of the test tube adapters, as well as like joints for the tubing, different joints for the tubing. So tons of stuff in here. I'll probably go over it more in detail later. So that's cool. We've got the test tube rack and setup and everything. So there's one rack with 5 tubes on it. They've all got the little grip notches on them so they don't roll. And the water fill line. Excuse me. So there's those. Man, that's great. And here come the bigger packages. Oh, this is way heavier than you'd think it'd be. Lasius Hybrid nest. So it is really heavy, actually. It's got a bunch of test tube plugs and adapters, as well as one of the wide-ended test tube nodules and one of the small opening ones. So that's great, actually. That's really good. And then there's some tubing here, it looks like. Yep, a little bit of tubing. Ooh, and another test tube. If I can get it out. Yeah. Another test tube. So, that's 6 test tubes. And a little tubing. Just a little itty bitty one. And then the actual nest itself, which is the majority of the weight of this package. So as you can see, there's the water tray. And then the actual nest. Here's the back side of it. You can see all the hydration holes to let water through. And it just sits right in there nicely. There's the tube entrances, and finally the reveal of the actual nest itself. Wow, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. And it's got the plexiglass, which can come out. Oh, that's not plexiglass, that's glass. For cleaning and stuff if you need to get in there for some reason, whatever the reason may be. Wow. Yeah, so it seems like the glass panel is actually most of the weight, and then the little cover to make it all nice and dark. So that's cool. That's really cool. Let me get all this packaging out of here. And then the last thing in this box, I think, should be the last thing in this box. Let me double check that real quick. Yep, last thing in this box is the Outworld. So here's the package it comes in, is this thin cardboard. I'm hoping it's not damaged because the actual box that it came in was kind of dented a little bit. No, it looks fine. Looks okay. This is so cool. I'm so happy right now. This is so exciting. So it's got the test tube holes here, as well as like ventilation spikes there. This whole thing should come off just like that. You can get the foam out of it. And there's 2 test tube plugs in here as well. As well as on the lid, there's a bunch of ventilation. It looks like the middle section. Yep, the middle section opens as well. It opens on hinges though, I think. Nope, it just opens straight out. So you can have it like this if you want, like an open top, or you can just have it open top. And there's also on the lid, is that a feeding drop chute? I can't tell if that's supposed to come out or not. I don't think it does. If it does, it's going to take some finagling to get it to come out, because it's stuck in there pretty good. Okay, so I wanted to do a bit of a deeper dive on some of the smaller parts. So we've got the tubing, which is just the typical tubing, as well as the one short piece, pre-cut, and some tubing elbow joints. There's an elbow joint, there's like the T-joint, there's this cool looking one. I have no idea what the name for this joint is. And then there's the cross joint. So there's those 4 joints. There's one of each kind of joint, I guess. Test tubes, we've got 5 in the rack that came in the rack, as well as 1 that came with the actual nest itself. So there's 6 test tubes in total. There are 2 of the test tube adapters, which have 4 entrances, 2 on each side. As well as the lid, and then a little feeding chute for dropping food in there. So there's 2 of those. We have 8 of the test tube plugs. So they have little ventilation holes at the end. They are too small for ants to fit through, so they will keep your ants in and other insects out. Then as far as the test tube adapters and stuff, we have 4 of the little, small entrance, plugs. We have 4 of the wide entrance plugs. And there are 4 of the actual adapters themselves. So, 4 of each. And that's the little bits and pieces that came with it. Also, a little side note from earlier in the video, where I talked about the Outworld cover. The thing on the top of it is definitely a feeding tube. It was stuck in really well, so it took me a minute to get it out. I didn't want to break it on camera, so it is a feeding tube. And here's all the rest of the stuff that comes with it. I haven't gotten a chance to use any of this stuff yet, so I can't really say whether it works really well or not. I will say I am very, very excited to use this stuff. And I will definitely make a video about it when I do. Maybe an update like, hey, this is working well, this is working not as well, here's what I would do differently, things like that. But yeah, so that's it for now. Okay guys, so this is a little side note for the comment contest. I will be putting a comment and pinning it with all the name suggestions that I've received so far. There's only 5, so whichever one of those gets re-commented under that comment the most. So if you reply to that comment with the one that you want, whichever one ends up with the most re-comments will be the name for this Prenolepis in Paris queen. So the first name is Princess Ada. It's a The name is from a movie about ants. It's called A Bug's Life. And so that's where that name comes from. Elsa is a name because she's a winter ant. Aurora is a name that was suggested by one of you guys. Queen Frost was also suggested by you guys, as well as Queen Philomenera. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but they will all be in that comment anyways, so you guys will be able to look them over and tell me that I mispronounced them. So, there you go. Those are the name options. So, yeah, whatever you guys say goes.